Good afternoon, everyone. It's finally upon us. The first tropical really system that's developing in the Atlantic is finally being looked at by the National Hurricane Center. Now, it's sort of a later start to the season than we're used to here. Last year it really started a lot earlier. In June, even May, we had a subtropical storm. But this year, the Atlantic's been kind of relaxed, and we've had a lot of high pressure systems over us, and that's sort of the reason for that. We had that one system that headed towards Bermuda and was a tropical system for all of 5 hours before it dissipated. But as you can see on the screen here, in this area right here, is where the National Hurricane Center is looking at the possibility of a tropical cyclone developing. Now, tropical cyclone just means depression, hurricane, or tropical storm. At the moment, I don't see this being stronger than a depression or storm, but we'll get into the details of that here in a second. Now, as you can see, this system is currently situated over central Georgia, and I can show you that here. If you come over to this window, that's it. That's our system right there. Doesn't look very impressive, does it? But if you note here, there is a upper level spin in the atmosphere, and that's what's being looked at. You can see some convection here on the north and northeast side. Those are probably just typical thunderstorms because of the humidity and temperature there in South Carolina and northern Georgia. But this system is going to meander to the southwest. Now, this poses no threat right now over land. It's just your typical upper level low system, and that just means that the upper levels of the atmosphere are spinning in a counterclockwise direction as low pressure systems do. And low pressure systems just mean that the air pressure is lower, they're more conducive to storms and stormy weather, whereas high pressure systems are more equivalent to sun and warm weather. Now, this system, as I mentioned, is going to move off to the southwest, and where we really have to become worried is when it gets over the Gulf of Mexico. And the reason for that is temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico right now are over 85 degrees. And whenever you get water that's over 85 degrees, that's a lot of potential energy for hurricanes to form. Not even hurricanes, just tropical systems in general. Because, they use, I don't know what's happening here, they use that energy to really build themselves up. Well, we're going to move away from this site since it doesn't want to work. The site I'm on right now is called Tropical Tidbits. It's a weather model site that I like to use for hurricanes because it provides more of a detailed look at what hurricanes are going to do. And when I would look at things like tornadoes and regular storms, I use a site called Pivotal because it's a little bit better in that aspect. But right now, here's my favorite hurricane model, the European model. And the European model is widely known as one of the better models out there for hurricanes. It's possibly the most accurate one in the world. So what we're looking at here is where the model thinks high and low pressure is going to be. And as you can see right here in the blue is our low pressure, high pressure is more in the red. Now, this is our low pressure system right here. And watch as it moves to the southeast. Oh, excuse me. There we go. It's going to move to the southwest, And as it moves to the southwest, according to the European model, it's going to dip pretty far into the Gulf of Mexico, which gives it a lot of time to sort of build up its own energy and become something. Now you see it indicated here by the 1003 and the L standing for low pressure system, the 1003 being the air pressure. Now, as we move forward in time, you see that number dip to 988. That's indicative of, maybe approaching Category 1, what you would see in a Category 1 type of hurricane when it comes to air pressure. In my opinion, at the moment, I don't see it becoming more than a tropical storm, maybe even say tropical depression, because it all depends on where it goes, because it's not going to spend that much time over water, which doesn't give it a whole lot of time to develop, although with the warm water temperatures, things can develop very quickly. Now you can see here, the European model has it going basically right into the Louisiana-Texas border. And after that, it moves to the north into Oklahoma before joining another low-pressure system that's just not a tropical system. It's just something that's naturally in the atmosphere and racing off the northeast. Probably bring some stormy weather to the northeast, but other than that, it doesn't pose that much of a threat. This is actually kind of ironic because, for those of you who know, I go to the University of Oklahoma, which is situated literally right in the middle of Oklahoma, and this actually brings it fairly close as a tropical storm. What we're going to look at now is the U.S. model's attempts at this, the GFS. Now, first we're going to look at the old GFS. For those of you who don't know, the GFS model recently upgraded last month to what is now called the GFS Legacy. It's supposed to be an upgrade over the old GFS. In my opinion, it's really not. There's a lot of flaws in each of them, and I just think that rather than correcting the old flaws, the GFS Legacy just presents new ones. While it may fix some of the old ones, I'm just not a fan of the GFS in general. But we're going to take a look at it regardless, because sometimes it is right. Now, you see here, if you go back in time here a little bit, the website's being a little bit laggy. Here's our system right there in the blue, all the way down here. And as it moves, you see it sort of, again, move to the southwest, excuse me, and really sort of not strengthen a whole lot. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. It moves towards the Houston area. Now, here it has a pressure of 1003. It's probably tropical depression, very weak tropical storm. It's not going to be very strong if this situation happens, because it doesn't dip very far into the Gulf of Mexico, so it doesn't spend a lot of time at all over water, and it really just doesn't have time to develop itself. Now, if we take a look at the aforementioned GFS Legacy, this has it coming more towards the New Orleans area. It's a slightly stronger storm, 998. It's slightly stronger tropical storm, not very strong. Moving to the New Orleans area. So as you can see, the European models sort of split the difference between these two, and there's still a wide range of disagreement in the models. That's to be expected at this point. We're still 5 to 10 days out from this thing actually impacting anyone. So as time gets closer, these models are going to get more and more accurate, and I'm not going to speculate too much more on this because there's just not a lot of information out on it. So I don't want to, fearmonger or put out wrong information if I can't help it. So like I was saying, it's not, in my opinion at the moment, it's not going to be a very strong system. Tropical depression, tropical storm, which, do not get me wrong, these can drop tons and tons of rain if they don't really move a whole lot. Even before it becomes a tropical system, Northeast Florida is probably going to get a decent amount of rain from this system as it strengthens just off the coast of the Florida Panhandle. And we'll be in the right front quadrant, which is usually where hurricanes build the most. So it'll start forming there, and sort of, we'll get a lot of rain out of it. Don't get me wrong, tropical storms still have, anywhere from 34 to 73 mile an hour winds, although I expect it to be on the lower range of that. It's not, that's still nothing to play with, especially on the coast. You'll still get some minor storm surge from that. So it's not a laughing matter regardless of, how weak or strong this thing becomes. If you're anywhere along from, anywhere in northern Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, you need to be paying attention to this system, because if it strengthens more, which we have seen before out of systems than the models predict, then it could become a hurricane. It's quite possible. If it doesn't, and it stays tropical depression, there still could be effects from it. Not everyone's off the hook from that. They might not be as widespread, but there will still be effects. Now, with that, like I said, I don't want to speculate too much more at this. I'll probably release a video every single day as the new models come out and as we get closer, just so everyone's updated, and as things become more consistent, I'll point those out, let everyone know where this thing's going, how strong I think it'll get, and with that, just keep an eye out, and I will see everyone later.